All right, good afternoon or good day to you guys, depending on where you are. Just wanted to hop on to talk a little bit about how to attack a writing prompt. There are several writing prompts in the courses where they ask you to explain how Gilgamesh is an epic hero. You have one where it may ask you to explain someone who is your personal hero, explain about a time where you were judged by something other than the content of who you are. And so I wanted to kind of go over how do you attack writing this? How do you go about making sure that you are responding to this appropriately? So before writing your essay, response, whatever it is, make sure you read the prompt several times to make sure that you understand what you are being asked to do. All right, so there are two different types of writing when it comes to responding to a prompt. Typically, you're going to either be asked to write an expository response, and with this type of writing, it's intended to explain or describe something, and it may include some outside sources. But then also, you have the narrative type. This type of writing is spoken or written. It's a written account of some events that you were involved in somehow. And with this type of writing, there should be no outside sources unless you're specifically asked or told to use those. All right, so what are some strategies when you are asked to respond to a prompt? So we're going to look at some examples and we're going to talk about how to attack these. Like, for example, circling words that ask you to do something. And then we're going to analyze the prompt. And so here are some things that you need to ask yourself as you're trying to respond to this. What am I writing about? Why am I writing the essay, or why am I writing the response? Who will be reading the response? And then what is the format of the prompt? So what type of writing are you doing to respond to that? All right, so some strategies. Expository writing, make sure you have a main idea and three supporting details. Did you include a hook and a thesis statement in your introduction? Typically in expository writing, you're going to use the 5-paragraph format. That means you have an introduction. Those three points in your thesis will become your 3 body paragraphs, and then your conclusion. And then with the narrative writing, you're making it personal with a beginning and a middle and an ending, and make sure that the reader understands the lesson learned. In other words, you're going to tie it all together, just as you do a conclusion in an expository writing. With a narrative writing, you're going to tie all of that together with that last paragraph, allowing the reader to know what was the gist, what should they have learned, what was your point, what were you trying to get them to understand from this particular piece of writing that you have given to them. All right, so let's look at prompt 1. All right, some high schools require drug tests for all students who want to participate in a school sport. Before adopting this policy, your school principal has asked for student opinions. Write a letter to your principal stating your position. Support that position with reasons and examples. Persuade the principal to agree with you. All right, so right away we see that this is going to be an expository writing prompt. You're asked to do a couple of things. First, you're asked to write a letter. You asked to support that. So that means that you're going to give evidence. It could be outside sources or it could be personal examples. And then your overall goal is to persuade the principal to agree with you. So let's look at one of those things. So we've underlined those words that ask us to do something. Again, write, support, persuade. So those are the 3 things that you're being asked to do something within this prompt. All right, so what is the subject? The subject of this particular writing is, should athletes be drug tested? The purpose of this writing is to persuade the principal for or against your issue. And then, of course, your audience would be the principal, board of officials, anyone that's associated with that school format. And then finally, the format of this is a letter. It tells you that clearly in the directions. Write a letter. All right. Let's look at one more. All right, prompt 2. Arizona legislators are trying to find ways to balance the state budget. They announced that school funding will be severely cut. Administrators at your school must make the difficult decision to eliminate one school program. What program do you think should be cut at your school? Write an essay identifying the program you feel should be eliminated. Support your position with reasons and examples. Persuade your school administrator to agree with you. All right, so again, we've looked at those words that ask us to do something. Write, identify, support, persuade. All these words are asking you to do something within this prompt. So let's look at what we have to do. Right, so the subject, which school programs should be cut? What's the purpose? You're getting students' perspective on this issue. The principal has asked students to tell him or her how they feel about this issue. All right, the audience would be the principal, board officials, anyone that's associated with the rules and regulations of that particular school. And then the format, it told you that in the prompt, is asking you to write an essay. So we know that this is going to be 5 paragraphs, typical 5 paragraph. Has 5 sentences each paragraph. You have your thesis statement. Usually that thesis statement has 3 points, and then a body paragraph for each one of those, and then your conclusion where you summarize those items. So again, we just wanted to talk a little bit today on how to attack your writing prompt, and the most important part is making sure that you understand what the prompt is asking you to do. If you don't understand what you're being asked to do, then you're not going to be able to respond to it. All right, I hope this helped you guys. Again, if there is something that you're struggling with that you need some assistance with, you can always respond to me via email or text, let me know, and I'll be glad to create a video to help you with that particular issue. You guys have a great rest of your day.